Heidi and Frank Show on the Results program. We talked about what happened last night during the election, everything that went on, a lot of stories. There's even one out of, I guess, Chicago area. This woman was so determined to go get her vote in. At 3 a.m., she started having contractions. And then when the polls opened, her water had already broke. She went into her polling place. Contractions were 5 minutes apart. She's in there voting. I wonder if that happens to a lot of women. Like they feel like they still need to do something before they leave the house.
Oh, yeah.
I still got to clean that spaghetti dish. I don't want to leave it in the sink. It's going to get all crusty on it. And her water's broken. You're like, no, you got to go.
Right. No, I got to clean this plate. I don't want to leave this house mess while I'm in the hospital.
There's got to be some, like, a little bit of denial that, or I don't really want to go through with this. Water breaks. You know what's next. The anxiety of knowing that you're going to pass a volleyball.
Yeah.
I
don't want to be crowning and voting at the same time.
Oh no, I'll get to that later. I got a vacuum.
Ma'am, there's a human being that's falling out of your body.
Oh, it'll be okay. Wow.
It's a girl dedicated to her country right there.
And destroyed another one. That's what I did there. Oh, is that the doorbell?
Hey!
Oh, look at it.
Come on in, Kelly Carlin.
There you go. Have a seat. Throw on the headphones.
Okey
You know how to
dokey.
do this. 'Cause you're
You're a pro.
superstar.
I know how to do this. Oh, please. Wow. Superstar.
Kelly Carlin.
Oh, hello. I can hear people. I
See,
have applause.
Wow.
Yes.
Of course. You walked into Sweet Child of Mine and applause and the whole thing.
Ah, sweet child of mine. You're going to make me cry already.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, you
Anytime,
guys.
of course.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show. If you're not familiar with Kelly, you know the name Carlin.
Yeah, there's that.
There's that. Now, how do you? I mean, because you have, you have a show on Sirius. You got a very successful podcast going, and you have this one woman show going. How do you get out of that shadow, or you're just like, hey, I'm going to be in it forever?
You know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a Carlin. There's no way getting around that, and I'm really proud of my dad and what he did for comedy and for thinking, rational thought.
Exactly. I was saying that earlier. I was like, the way your dad did his thing, it made you think, and it had that. It was hilarious. And I thought, we need a guy like him in the office.
But you can't be the guy in the office
and say things like that.
because then you're part of the system. I mean, the thing my dad enjoyed being was he didn't even like to be on the planet, basically. He decided that he was done with the species. Now, I participate. I actually voted yesterday. He hadn't voted since 1972. But the shadow thing, I have a voice of my own.
Right.
Since my dad has been gone for 4 years now, which is unbelievable, there's been more light for me to step into and to have my voice bigger in the world. And so people discover who I am. I have a lot of Twitter followers who come because I'm Carlin's daughter, and then they stay because I'm Kelly. I've got my own point of view. And
I guess it's something that, you have to deal with because your dad was a legendary comedian and all of that. My dad was a furniture stainer, so nobody comes to me and expects me to know how to refinish a table.
Yeah, unless she's at living spaces.
Right. Then they're like, well, your dad, you know how to stain this.
Right.
Your dad, your dad was
it's in the DNA, right?
Right. So as that daughter of a furniture stainer, I don't have the pressure of, well, you better, come on, wow me, you better be funny, Carlin.
I worked at a
intense.
Home Depot type of place called Menards. It's like the Midwestern Home Depot. Mm-hmm. And my dad was an electrician, so they ended up putting me in the electricity department.
Where I felt it a little bit.
I was hanging up, ceiling fans. I had no idea about anything electricity. Just figured I'd know.
And somebody come up, sir, is this, would I be able to use
but
this?
I felt like I should know.
Right.
Like some weird way I was like...
Because it's in your blood.
Can this 12 gauge go indoor or outdoor? I'm like, it can go either one. Sure enough, the guy comes... This is like the first day. So then the guy comes back and he's like, your guy over there in the electricity department, he told me to go outdoor, it's indoor. And so I got called into the office and they're like, if you don't know, just don't say anything. Just get somebody else.
Or maybe we'll move you to the paint department or something.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I got some of that comedy thing in my DNA.
And you're an only child.
I am, yeah. Just a little pressure there, But, I was always glad I was a girl, because I think if I was a boy, it would have been a whole different kind of a pressure thing, don't you think?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's the sun thing's very different. But being a girl, I kind of got, she's a girl, she's different. And I really am half my mom and half my dad. I mean, people don't know about my mom, but I really, when people know both my parents, they're like, yeah, you're like the perfect weaving of those two humans.
What is their story? Because I honestly don't know. Was he married your mom your childhood?
Yeah, they met in 1960. My mom was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, and she was a hostess at a really like the place in Dayton where people would
Denny's.
like Jonathan Winters, Phyllis Diller, all these amazing people played this club. It was called the Racket Club. My mom was a 21-year-old hostess. My dad was 23, was still with Jack Burns at the time, and came in and like fell in love with her, love at first sight. And they had this whirlwind romance. I tell the whole story in a Carlin Home Companion. It's like one of my favorite parts of the show is the beginning where I tell the story of my parents coming together in this like really sweet kind of fairy tale way. And then of course it goes crazy for a few years in the 70s.
Well, it was the 70s, right?
Kelly Carlin hanging out with us. She mentioned her show. She's going to be performing a Carlin Home Companion at the Santa Monica Playhouse November 15th at 8 p.m. Now,
how do people get tickets for that if I want to?
It's brownpapertickets.com, or you can go to my website, kellycarlin.com. There's always a little, thing there, thing that you hit on, like the
Buy
web,
now.
the thing.
All your stuff.
Yeah, that thing, right.
We have those two on our website that I don't really understand.
Right, the doohickey.
Yeah, the thingamajig.
Right.
Don't use technical terms with me.
No, I'm sorry. I'll slow down on that.
Way up here with the doohickey.
Carlin Home Companion.
Yeah.
So you start out with the way when your parents imagined. Just take us through your childhood.
Yeah, it's a really interesting show because it's I play videos of my dad, like a lot of his HBO specials and stuff. So I'm weaving my dad's kind of stage persona, and then we are like cut to me telling the story behind the scenes, what was going on during that time in our life, so you see him early days, and then you see him changing slowly, and then you see him of course evolving into like the big kind of sage wise social commentator that he was in the 90s.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize that he was George Carlin? I mean, or just he was dad?
Always
He was
dad.
dad, and you were like,
I think it was.
You're on TV.
Yeah, the TV thing was weird as a kid. I guess my mom said when I was really, really, really little, she was really excited. She put me in front of the TV, and I screamed and cried and ran out of the room because I thought that box had made my daddy that inches tall.
Right, daddy in the box.
How dare they? But I think it was really like the summer of 72, 71 when we would go traveling with him. And the summer of 72, I talk about on my show too, was a big summer. I mean, we went to Kent State. My dad did Carnegie Hall, and it was like we would go to these college campuses, and these college kids would like mob my dad, and it was like something interesting is going on here,
Right.
And when people are stomping their feet and thousands of people are saying your dad's name over and over again in an auditorium, you kind of get something's going on.
Did he have a process when or was this just like his commentary? Would he walk around the house and like he'd see something and just start ranting, and that just became his act, or would he go back into an office somewhere?
The thing about Tupperware. What? All right.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He was a guy who notepads everywhere and little recorders, and he was a guy who he'd like see something, or you'd say something, yeah, and then he'd go off and wrait a note. You wouldn't know what's on
You're
the
like,
note.
Dad, this is a private conversation. Right. What are you writing? This is not for your show.
Sometimes my stuff made it on the stage, and. So yeah, and then he'd go in his office and he'd disappear, and he had this amazing process where he would filter through all this stuff and build these amazing routines. Yeah,
I have 2 kids, and I find it hard sometimes because of doing this show and being in radio and doing it every day and consistently having to come up with new stuff, or have to cover everything. And you obviously know this, doing the podcast and stuff. It's like you got to come up with something new and be fresh. Keep people coming back.
What are we going to talk about?
It consumes you. I mean, it's 24-hour prep. And
people always say, you work 4 hours a day or whatever it is. It's like, no, it never stops.
No, never.
So
never
did you
stops.
ever? I mean, I guess my own curiosity as a father, did you ever act out trying to get his attention because he was so into his notepads?
Not as a kid. I got to be the lucky one in the family who was the adult in the family for many years.
Yeah.
So my job was to be the good girl and to make everyone sane, because my parents were very chaotic for a few years with the drugs and the alcohol.
You were like 3 years old making French toast for everybody in the morning.
Yeah,
Guess I'll do my own hair.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pigtail.
For a few years there, yeah, kind of like that. But no, I don't. I did act out. I mean, I was into drugs and alcohol and crazy boys in high school and stuff like that. And then I, married an older man in my 20s, which was really a little nuts. So I guess that was my acting out. But no, I mean, it was frustrating because I always wanted more of my dad. He was on the road a lot. That was my dad.
But I think no matter what your dad does, no matter what he does, I mean, my dad, again, I mentioned him as a furniture stainer. He was up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
He was gone by the time I got up to go to school.
Agreed.
When I got home from school, he came home, walked through the door, tired from the day at the factory, had a couple highballs, went to bed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were times where I was like, hey, I've got a volleyball. Oh, he's sleeping. Awesome.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's no matter what your dad does. I mean,
dads are busy. Dads are busy.
On your mom as well. I mean, she's home with you, and he's out doing his thing.
Yeah.
I know that obviously getting up 4 in the morning as a furniture stainer. I mean, the only way that Heidi could actually tell that her mom and dad were getting along was he'd have one finger clean.
And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I went there.
Wow, you did.
I did. I went there.
You did. With my mom and dad, by the way.
I had you both sold into that too.
Totally. I was like ready to have some sort of poignant moment happen.
Kelly, there's no poignant
I feel
moment
crushed. I feel crushed right now.
You both are on the wall.
I can picture my mom and dad. I'm disgusted. You're crushed. I'm disgusted.
You're in the net. I pulled you in the boat.
Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy,
they are
as
still
someone used to say on this radio station.
They are still together after 40 years or something.
Kelly Carlin, she's going to be doing her show, A Carlin Home Companion, at the Santa Monica Playhouse, November 15th at 8 p.m. You can get the tickets again at the
brownpapertickets.com
or kellycarlin.com.
Of course.
Click on one of the thingamajigs.
And your Twitter following.
Yeah, Twitter, Kelly_Carlin.
Somebody had the other Kelly Carlin.
Yes. Not horrible. Or maybe not. Maybe I just I was like a total dork with Twitter at the beginning, so I'm like, ew, I don't want my name all squished together. So now I have this.
Put an underscore in there.
Yeah, I'm a total dork. What do you know? But I have fun there.
And be sure and check out her podcast, Waking from the American Dream, on smodcast.com. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, guys.
Kelly.
And,
I want to come see your show.
Come see, please.
Okay, November 15th.
And come back and hang out with us anytime.
I would love to.
Thank you so much. 1-800-955-5567. Coming back with more of the results from yesterday. We are Heidi and Frank.
That was just a little sample of the Heidi and Frank Show on 95.5 KLOS. To get more samples like this and hear all the fun we have, you can do that at 955klos.com. Now, to get the show in its entirety on demand, and if you want to watch the show, we webcast it every day, all you have to do is go to HeidiandFrank.com and become a premium package member. Do it right now.